players and people that are not multimillionaires to get involved with our pre-sale raises, third party and our own native raises, while still keeping it exclusive because we're only going to open up 1,000 seats that you need to hold one of these NFTs to access. And these NFTs will be sold in both REAP and a some sort of stable coin, most likely, or BNB. This way, we're supporting the REAP token, which is associated with the REAP DAO, and we can use a portion of that capital to do things like buying back Drip, or supporting our other assets that are on a different chain. So we'll raise some of it in BNB or BUSD, and some. Well, when I say raise, I'm saying we're going to sell some of the tickets in BNB, and we're going to sell some of the tickets in the REAP token. So, like what every single time we do some sort of raise in the DAO, the REAP token does 10x or more. So, in fact, it's done 100x before a raise. So, if this sounds like something that's interesting to you, consider buying the REAP token now before we start promoting this. Like, really, we're gonna. I don't want to distract from the launch of Animal Farm, so I'm not going to bring it up at all until Animal Farm is completely launched. But on the run up to Scratchy, the month before we open Scratchy, we're going to be deploying these tier 2 seats to the DAO, which will be a major opportunity for people to get into the Scratchy presale. So your best way to get prepared for that now is to buy the REAP token. I think one of the mods or admins, if you want to post info about the REAP token now, like the a Uniswap link and all that stuff, do that. No one who isn't a mod or an admin do it, right? If you're an admin or a mod, you can do it. If someone else does it, ban them. So, oh yeah, we can keep going with questions.
I don't really have a question, but more of a comment. It really seems like my mission has been trying to get no coiners, people that are completely not involved in crypto or DeFi at all, and try to get them into this ecosystem and into these products. And it sounds like that job is going to be a whole lot easier going forward with the new UI and all of the mainstream sort of marketing that's going to be targeted towards all the people that are outside of our community.
Yeah. So I think, the competition is going to be one major tool that we're going to take full advantage of. People are going to see YouTube ads that say, click here to win $5,000 in crypto. Click here for a chance to win $5,000. And people who are just normies who know nothing about crypto will click on that kind of call to action. And then when they get forwarded to our landing page, then they have various tasks they need to do to be eligible to win this. And they're simple tasks, like follow our Twitter, join our Telegram group. But when they do that, now they have full exposure to our community, and we can onboard them easily. So
do they get their own referral link so they can try to bring their friends to it as well?
Yeah, so that's what. So let me just go over the tasks we set up. All right. So one of the tasks that you land on our landing page, you're given a score of 1. You follow our Twitter and visit our site, you're given a score of 2. You retweet a specific post on our Twitter, follow our Twitter, and join our website, you get a score of 3. You visit a specific YouTube video and do all the rest, you get a score of 4. You enter in a specific referral code you get a score of 9. So that specific one gives 5 additional points. And the reason for this is because that code that they're putting in lets us know what ad they saw, what ad drove them there. Then that is a major analytical tool that we could use to see what ad is driving people to the site, and of those people that are being driven to the site, how many of them are following us on our social media, how many of them are going to this YouTube link. There's also putting in a valid BSC address. And this is another one that increases your score greatly. So that allows us to see, okay, how many people are coming from this specific ad? How many of them have valid BSC addresses? So it allows us to do so much, right? And then there are several other structures like this. One of them is share with your friends for additional entries. So by sharing the essentially the API that we're using on social media with other accounts, you're getting additional points, which increase your odds of winning the prize. And we're using an API that is like a institutional grade API. We're not like some of the stuff we didn't build in house because it's just like it'd be ridiculous to build it in house, because we're using APIs that verify that, for example, when they put in a Twitter account, it's a real Twitter account. When they follow us, so it already has all of the structure put in place to prevent botting and to prevent that kind of stuff. So these are tools that are being used in traditional markets that people in DeFi just have not picked up yet, but they're very effective in traditional markets, and we're bringing them in to use on our platform. So you can increase your chance of winning a lot by sharing the API with people on social media, and when they do that, those people get forwarded over to our landing page, which they can then share with people to increase their chance of winning. So all of that is baked into the contest, and this is going to be it's kind of like the final puzzle piece that takes all of the other advertising we're doing and kind of integrates it and creates a structure that we can use to analyze traffic, and creates an incentive for people that don't know anything about DeFi to end up on our page, to end up in our Telegram groups. It's gonna be a major tool for us. You guys are gonna be able to see exactly what I'm talking about in the next in the week or two. So the goal is I want to get the landing page up by the end of the week and the full UI up before the 15th. So the landing page up before that possible, so we could start this competition. But yeah, it's there's other things that I didn't list as well, like subscribe to our newsletter, visit other social media accounts. There's a lot there. There's a lot of options that people could do, and you get essentially a score for doing everything outside of share it with your friends. You get a score between 1 and 20, and this acts essentially a ticket in the sweepstakes, where for every task you do, you're increasing the amount of tickets you have in the sweepstakes, and when we determine who's the winner, one random person from one of these tickets gets selected, and then that is associated with a BSC wallet they gave when they filled it out. So that's a score of 1 to 20, and then you can really get up to 20 additional points by sharing with your friends. So yeah, it's a major tool that no one else is using that we're gonna put to its full potential. specifically to target normies and people that are, it handles so many things. So it like not specifically target normies, but also allows us to do analysis on where we need to be putting our resources. It lets us know a bunch of information about the people that are getting involved, how many of them have BSC wallets, what kind of education we need to do. If a bunch of them are coming on and don't have BSC wallets, we're going to need to put something about how to set up a BSC wallet, how to get onboarded. There's a lot of stuff that we'll learn from this and be able to make adjustments. But even without those adjustments, like just having this tool there opens up so many doors for us. Got any more questions, Ray?
Let me see. Okay, this is this is a different type of question. I think this is a good one. A lot of people would like to see your answer on this, and I think that it'll bring a lot of clarity just in general. So I'm gonna just ask. Might as well just ask this, right? He said the great Baba G with drip headed for the heights of the likes of DeFi that DeFi has never seen before. How do you plan to deal with any regulations on crypto tightening up around the world? Like, what would be, our steps towards something like that?
We're unstoppable. We are our different UIs. So we have multiple different UIs that are ran by multiple independent developers. If any one of our UIs goes down, everybody can just transfer it to the new UI. All of our UIs go down, people can use BSC scan. If BSC scan goes down, people can use a DApp generator to interact with our contracts, which are very simple to use. There's no target that they can hit us that would ever take us down. It's commutable. It runs on itself. People know that when I take a step back, because I need to start working on other things, we continue to function. We continue to grow. I have been heavily focused on animal farming, getting prepared and doing meetings and scheduling, marketing and all of that. And last month, we had 90,000 plus transactions on Drip, bigger than any other platform as far as their own, native contracts, bigger than any other platform by far. So it doesn't take me to do anything for this to keep functioning, to keep rolling. I see we're really starting to break through, right? We've had multiple shoutouts on major platforms that, we didn't pay them, we didn't reach out to them. People are just talking about us. So I've seen some funny skits that people are doing that are getting very popular. It's all this zeitgeist that is starting to grow that is extremely natural and is 100% organic. And having a budget, having a marketing budget, and being able to spend the market budget makes a huge difference. But Drift functions with or without. I'm completely anonymous for the sense that no one knows who I am, no one knows who my name is, right? No one has ever seen a picture of me. No one will ever see a picture of me. In fact, I don't have any personal social medias. I've never had any personal social media. When I was in high school, Facebook was very popular. Facebook is still very popular, but it was very popular when I was in high school, even more so. And all of my friends were creating Facebook accounts, and they're using it to skip parties and all of this stuff. I never had an interest in it. I just saw it as, why do I have to be telling everybody what I'm doing every minute? Why do I need to be posting my pictures all the time? I had no interest in it. People, I was, I wasn't, I was popular in the sense that I got invited to parties anyways. I didn't have to, be trying to reach out and stuff. So I was perfectly comfortable just living my life, staying off social media. And I was like that my whole life. And so I will never KYC. I will never dox myself because I see us as a I see devs that dox themselves and really put themselves out there as creating a target for the platform as a whole. So that's as far as regulation goes, we really have made ourselves extremely hard, right? Decentralized front ends. There's no individual target that anybody could come after. There's no dev that someone could come after. There's no one influencer that anybody could come after. We're not doing anything that is, even in a gray area of regulatory, so the current regulatory condition is, pretty much up in the air, but we're not doing something that's specifically like on the edge of, is this shady, is this not shady? So I don't see regulation being an issue for us. I don't see regulation being an issue for us at all, mainly because they can do whatever they want. They can't stop us. Like, there's no one target they can come after. They shut down our front end. We have another front end. They shut down all our front ends. We can use BSC scan. Anybody can spin up a front end on a DAB generator and interact with our contracts. We're fully on chain. We're fully immutable. It's just we're even if regulation really tried to crack down, we're not a target. We've really worked hard on being a true community decentralized project. So we'll continue to operate like that. I plan to bring products that are heavily utilized in the traditional market to DeFi. And when you do that, you're challenging major institutions. And I realize that if we're going to be challenging major institutions, people will come after us, actually. Like, we've already seen it to some degree, but it's going to happen. And day one, I've been from the perspective that if we are ever made we cannot have any weak point that they can use to take down. And I've been developing and I've been promoting in that way since day one. Before I ever got into developing anything, when I was just into Bitcoin, like we're talking back in 2012, 2013, 2014. I got in 2012, but what I'm trying to think when I got more interested in privacy. I was using tumblers, Bitcoin tumblers, in like 2013, 2014 to disassociate my Bitcoin with any kind of fiat on ramp that required anything like that. In 2016, 2017, I was one of the largest Bitcoin for cash vendors on local Bitcoins because I needed a way to get heavily in and heavily out of crypto without ever needing to KYC, without ever making that paper trail. So I was, buying and selling $15,000, $20,000 worth of Bitcoin for cash weekly, all the way back in 2016, 2017. So I've always had this perspective where I want to make it about me. It's always about the products. It's always about the technology. And I've had that opinion since before I even started developing. So we're just very hard. We're very hard. And of course, we'll do everything we can to kind of work with and around regulation. But I will not waver to regulation. We have very clear tasks that we want to do, and we're going to achieve them. And if it takes developing new technology or taking more sacrifices on my part, we'll do it. But we're going to meet our tasks. We're going to give DeFi what they deserve. We're going to bring these products to the market. We're going to privacy to the market. we're prepared to go all the way with this, and we're going to continue to operate in a way that we have no weaknesses from a regulatory standpoint. So where we can work within regulation, we work within regulation. If they decide to make, but so where we can work within regulation, we work within regulation. But we always work from the standpoint that if they change regulation, anything that we've done from that point on cannot be taken down and cannot be targeted. We have no weaknesses there. So we can continue to maintain even if they change regulation. So that's it. I mean, I don't think that they're going to go too hard on regulation, actually, because there are major players that are starting to get into crypto now, BlackRock and, major institutions, and they have incentive to be overregulated as well. And the government, through institutions, are heavily invested in crypto as well. So I'm not a doomsday kind of guy when it comes to regulation. I feel like they're going to create a regulatory standpoint similar to what we had in the traditional markets in the 90s, before the SEC went crazy. And because they don't have the ability to do much enforcement, I don't think we'll ever get much past that. At least not in the next decade. So, and then if they do, we're hard anyway. So,
this is my quick answer to that question too. It's like you can't be scared of the boogeyman. Whatever comes our way, we're gonna pivot in the direction where we could continue doing what we're doing, and nothing is gonna stop us. And we're the strongest community out there, and we're gonna continue to grow, thrive, and survive. And what motivates Forex, my leader, to be the great leader that he is the community that supports him. That's facts. Right or wrong, Forex. When we first had what's going on, and then you started seeing the growth, it inspired you to make something great, and that's what spawned the Manor Farm. That's what spawned, you wanting to develop more things because of the support. So that's what drives our community. That's what feeds the engine. That's what the more bullish we are, the more bullish Forex is going to be, and the and team as well is going to be towards developing things that are going to change the game, change lives within our community. Real talk.
Yeah, if I only cared about money, I would be fully focused on developing tools specifically to help me trade and specifically to help me take advantage of investment opportunities. I wouldn't be focused so much on building things that have a wide utility. I would be hyper focused on how am I going to create value specifically for myself. And that's what I was doing before I started developing Reap, for example. I was mainly focused on building trading tools, building different DeFi trading tools, and I was making a ton of money, like millions of dollars a month doing that. And that's great, but I'm a relatively principled person. I'm actually an extremely principled person, and I have goals when it comes to building specific things in DeFi, and I'm willing to sacrifice everything to do it. And that it's just the way it's going to be. And if I would do it anyways. Like when I built Reap, I thought, I can probably get Reap off the ground. I'm kind of known in the space, but I wasn't known as a developer. But I thought, this is something that is innovative. Let me do it. I did it. I got a huge positive feedback, right? A ton of events come in. And at that point, I realized, okay, we can do this. Like, I can actually build things that have value and get support for them. And from that point on, I had to make a decision. I want to continue with this, where I would be taking a hit on my own pocket, essentially. I would be taking less focus away from creating value to myself as an individual through creating specific trading tools and things that, like different bots that take advantage of other people's projects and I could be spending all of my time to figure out where am I going to be investing my money and building tools to help me do it more efficiently, or am I going to put my time into building these tools that create value and really change DeFi, make DeFi fit my vision of where it go? And to me, the more attractive and what brings value to my life is shaping the future, more so than making a bunch of money for myself. And I just don't see it happening. Like, I don't see any private model that can't be taken down. The feds can't go knock on the door and say, you better take this down because you have a licensed company in the US and you're a US citizen. And if you don't take this down, we're going to do this and this and that. No one's building that. I don't see anybody building a fully decentralized lending protocol. I don't see anybody building a decentralized insurance model that is essentially acting as the FDIC, but for DeFi. What I see is a couple, like less than a half a dozen developers that are building cool stuff for the existing chains, a ton of meme tokens and garbage like that, a handful of people that are copying the initial work that those really innovative devs do, and then kind of people that have a team structure that is like on par with mine, deciding that they want to build new chains and become billionaires rather than building actual financial products that will allow for true DeFi adoption and really bring in users, because we're actually providing products, not just a new chain for people to put their money on that's a clone of BSC. But it's so easy for someone that has some level of competency and some promotional tool or some vehicles that they use for promotion to create a new chain and become billionaires. So that's just where the money's going right now. That's where the strong development teams are going, and I refuse to do that. Only time you will ever see me do a new chain is if this new chain had so much more ability, all of the other chains in the space, that it would just be undeniable. It would dominate every other chain in the space. No one would want to build on the other chains. Something completely unique. And right now, I think that there is products that need to be built on the existing chains that can be done, that need to be done before we go there. So I'm not even considering building new chains. I think it's, other than being a cab, other than being a billionaire from it, which I'm not interested in. I am interested, obviously, like, I care about money, I care about making wealth, but not at the expense of doing what needs to be done to create true DeFi adoption. Not at the expense of handling some of these things that need to be done, or else DeFi is going to be stagnant. And I don't see really too many people stepping up to do it, and I'm happy to do it. And we have a team now to do it. When it was just me and BB, we were still going for it. We were going all out for it, but now that we have a team to do it just takes time. Like, there's no way I could have built up this team from day one. It's something that took time. It's something that took learning the lessons, realizing where we were weak, where we needed to add people to make us stronger. I've learned so many lessons over the past few years. I feel really good about where we are right now.
I got one more, because people say that I don't ask when I do these AMAs with you, or when we have these discussions, that you don't deal with hardball questions. So this is a little bit hardball question, but you're always open to any question, so it doesn't matter. And I think that this is I got you, bro. Of course, we answer everything.
I'm open to all questions, but I think that we operate at a level where it's very difficult to ask a honest, very hard question. Because we're open books. What you see is what you get, and so it's like, if most of the time when people frame something as a difficult question, it's a dishonest question, or it's something with some presuppositions that are just untrue. And why give attention to that? You don't want to give attention to dishonest actors. But I'm open to any question.
Yeah, I got you right now. This is important. I think people need to know your thought on this, right? Okay. When it comes to drip being misrepresented on, these rating platforms where they put drip as high risk, or they put drip and then they put a copy paste description about drip, etc. What's your message for the community just regarding that sort of stuff? Remember, guys, we are 15 months operation drip. Forex as developer, multiple years in game. I don't know another developer, honestly speaking, that has more 100x tokens under his belt than Mighty Leader Forex Shark. Multiple tokens, 100x, all in operation, all still going. No scam shit. No just nothing went on behind the scenes for us. Yeah, no cash grabs. All the tokens are great, right? We have more than just drip. There's other tokens in the ecosystem outside of pigs, outside of dogs. We got Reap token, we got B Reap token. We have a couple of different tokens that did multiple X. So what's your your message about that? What's your thoughts for the people so that way they can understand what's going on with that?
So from what I've seen, right, there's two major gatekeepers that have put a high risk. Both of them are citing incorrect info about referral structure. Both of them are putting the high risk based on them thinking that we have a referral structure similar to Tron Chain, or similar to these very old projects that did essentially a pyramid scheme. So what they see is downlines. They see that this project has downlines, this project has uplines, and this project has a referral structure. And immediately they say it's a pyramid scheme. It is a multi-level marketing system. And they don't take the time to understand that we are not only the opposite of a pyramid scheme. We're not only the opposite of a multi-level marketing scheme. We are more fair and more legitimate than traditional referral structures, such as what Amazon is using. And this is what we are currently working on. So I'm currently in talks with the core dev team of BSC to, of course, people don't want to hear it. People get in their head what they think something is, and it's difficult to get across to them. But I was able to make a bridge between their team and a developer that I know that they also know, and we're in communication right now. I'm telling you, as soon as they understand how our referral structure works, all of that's going to go away, and it's just a matter of time before that happens, because you can only deny us so long. You can only not look at how we work for so long. And as soon as you take the time to realize how our referral structure works, you immediately realize that's not what it is. So when it comes to high risk, there's nothing high risk about us, right? Immutable contracts, locked decentralized liquidity, a developer that has been working in the space for a decade. But even if I was some brand new developer, I don't have the ability to access the liquidity pool anyways. It's decentralized and locked. I don't hold drip tokens, right? So drip tokens were initially going to the dev wallet that created the initial stake that allowed people to start the buddy system. That that wallet that initially started that, I taking the drip that was being earned from the wallet, withdrawing it, and putting it into the tax vault to pay other people commission. And I continued to do that until it was maxed out. Now it's maxed out. So now I can't withdraw from that account. I have no drip tokens. I have no access to the liquidity pool. It's fully locked, fully decentralized. It's literally impossible for me to take money or scam from drip. The contracts are immutable. So all of that is as low risk as it could be, right? It's not only low risk, it's high security. And then, but that's not where the risk factor is coming from, because they understand that. What they're saying is it's a pyramid scheme which is unsustainable. And what makes pyramid scheme unsustainable is the fact that capital continues to move up to the top and becomes top heavy, and this eventually is not sustainable. And the reason why capital continues up to the top in a pyramid scheme is because they have a multi-level commission structure where I refer somebody. For doing that direct referral, I make, say, a 10% commission. Then the person who I direct refers somebody, and when they refer that person, they make a 10%, and now I make, say, a 7%. And now that person just refers somebody, and they make a 10% for doing the referral. The person above them that I refer makes 7%, and now I make a 5%. So you have the system where every time some action takes place in the system, everybody in the upline gets paid. And this means the earlier you get into the system, the more capital is being concentrated because the more people are below you. And eventually, it becomes extremely top heavy and falls apart. And these systems typically fall apart in less than a month. Sometimes they go a few months, depending on the level of centralization and the level of hidden, shady source code that's going on. With ours, it's fully decentralized. It's fully open source, so everybody can see what's going on. Everybody sees where the capital is going. So there's no, shell game going on. And one deposit pays out one referral. The capital cannot continue upstream and got top heavy because there's a max level of downlines each team can have. And if you have more than 5 direct referrals, you're in fact getting a smaller commission, not a greater commission, and the rest goes downline. So the capital is flowing downline, not upline. It's the exact opposite of a pyramid scheme. It's literally the inverse of a pyramid scheme. It's a more fair referral structure than even Amazon has. So anybody who has taken the time to understand the system understands that, and that's why we are as popular as we are. But those who do not have their own incentives in the system, so they maybe have their own motivations, or it's their job to review 1,000 projects a day, and they don't care about any individual one. They're just sitting there rubber stamping it. They see, oh, there's downlines, oh, there's a team referral structure, pyramid scheme, boom, like that, rubber stamp, high risk. And that wasn't an issue until one platform did it. Then when one platform did it, another platform did it, and now there's essentially 2 gatekeepers. But this isn't anything new, right? It's not like this just happened. This is a gate that we've been dealing with for the past 6 to 8 months. So I mean, it's nothing new. What is new is that now I have a team that can deal with these things. Previously, I'm working on building everything. I'm managing the community. I'm doing interviews. I'm doing AMAs. I'm trying to schedule marketing. I'm trying to manage our budget. I'm dealing with development. I don't have time to also be filling out applications to what's it called? Appeal these ratings. I don't have time to be reaching out to the core BSC team and try to get through with them and all of that. Now I have a project manager. Now I have a team that is handling a lot of these other tasks for me, so I can actually put time into dealing with these things. Just that onward is something that we now are able to deal with because I have a team to do it, and we're doing that. So I'm in discussion right now with BSC about removing that risk rating, and then Dakar is the other one that that we need to deal with, which we're in the process of dealing with. Other than that, we're not dealing with anything in that regard because the vast majority of people are not that lazy when it comes to doing. They're either not doing a kind of risk profile, they're leaving it up to the investor, which is smart, or they're actually taking the time to learn about our project. So look at any of our real audits that we got. Look at any of our third-party or internal audits or the reviews that we've got. Someone that has really taken the time to audit and review the system. We're low risk on every single function. It's only people that don't actually take the time to learn the system that have given that rating. And it's kind of rare, but that we've had to deal with that. But it is the case that we have to deal with that for two platforms, and we're handling it. Now, the good news is that we don't have that issue with Animal Farm. We don't have that issue with Scratchy. We don't have that issue with Dogs of Fortune. And these platforms are providing utility for Drip, and they're getting exposure to the community, that network. So we're not going to have to deal with these same gates for Animal Farm and for Scratchy, and having the these alternative platforms really give us a greater standing to argue on behalf of. Like, we're not just developing one platform that they have an issue with. We can look and say, look, Drip is one major part of our ecosystem. We have these audits by major firms that are showing it's low risk on every function. We have these other platforms that are completely different kinds of platforms that are also all low risk, that are all highly performing. We're not just doing this one thing, this one gimmick, and that's it, and we're going to try to live off it. No, we're serious developers that are building real utility in the space, and you need to give this platform a second look because it deserves a second look. And I think the merits of everything else we're building shows that we're worth giving a second look. If we just had Drip, they had a back page about Drip, and that's all we had, then it would be a little more difficult. Having Drip and having all of these other products that are doing so well, and the Deep Down, which has done so well, and we can say, look, this is just one element of our ecosystem. It has all these low-risk third-party audits. Your explanation of why it's high risk is a clear misunderstanding of our system, and please give it a second look. And that's what we're in the process of doing right now. So it was just made aware to me that we got these ratings like a few weeks ago. So we're working on it. To reach the core BSC team is not few weeks to get in touch with them, and then I do that through a intermediate dev that we both know that was able to vouch for me, and now we're able to get information in front of them. They need to review the information and then decide whether they're going to give us an update or not. But anyways, the beauty of Drip is we don't rely on any kind of platform that could gatekeep us. We're a community project, and we rely on the community, and we have a very strong community, and they're onboarding people directly from their schools, directly from their Discord gaming group. They're onboarding people from everywhere, not just some one particular platform that decides to gatekeep us because of a misunderstanding of how our team referrals work. So it's not a big deal. but it's definitely worth addressing, and we're doing that. But I mean, it's when some platform is high risk, their explanation of high risk is an absolute inverse to the true functions of our system, and then it can be juxtaposed to an audit from a well-respected third party that says the exact opposite, and it's very clear that this third party actually went over our code because that's what they're paid to do. It should be relatively easy to dismiss and move past that, regardless of what they say. But anyways, it's still worth addressing it, and we're working on it.
Great, and a lot of people are gonna appreciate your answer as well. That was awesome. And remember, there's some other communities that also get gate kept too. Same shit we're going through is the same stuff that they went through as well. So we're just going through our own battles. That's all.
Thing is,
it's
because we're so big, right? So, if we didn't get to the size we were, then we wouldn't get attention from people that want to make value judgments on us without actually understanding the system. They feel obligated to make a value judgment because of our size, but they're not actually doing the work of understanding the system. If we were another small project, they wouldn't even feel obligated to say anything about us. We wouldn't even be on their radar. But the reality is, anybody that has made a value judgment on us, that has actually taken the time to audit our contracts, to understand the contracts, have put us low risk across the map. And the few platforms that made a value judgment because they felt obligated to, because we're the large platform on the network, didn't take the time to understand the system. They're the only ones that have said anything, and then their explanation for it is completely inverse of reality. So, but it's only about a time.
We're gonna eventually be the biggest in crypto when it comes to drip. Like, as far as users, it's coming. We're already in the top 11 according to the way that DApp Radar measures us. So it's only a matter of time before we have more users than some of the top dexes that are on the top of the list.
You guys have to understand that there are people that are salty about that. So some of these
super salty.
So some of these people that are in charge of these major platforms, they have their own projects, and they've used their platforms to promote their own projects. And when they see some project that's just a completely independent community project is overtaking them, they have incentives to say things that may be the complete opposite of the truth to try to gatekeep us on their platform, because they have their own to do that. And that can only happen for so long, right? Eventually, you have to recognize us. When we've been going for years, when we've outpaced everybody, how are you going to lie about us? We speak for ourselves. Our products speak for ourselves.
100%. All right, and then also remember, even some of these top protocols now, you start looking around at the top dexes, they're doing things like time locks. They're doing things like you see a bunch of things that our ecosystem pioneered. You see a lot of these top protocols emulating that because they're watching us and they see how our system goes.
Yeah. Also, there's a lot of shadiness going on when it comes to like wash trading and inflating numbers, and there's all that going on. Stuff that we've never done. Like, we've never once bought users, like far as like members to our Telegram group. We've never once force added people. If people look at our Twitter accounts, which have 30 plus, I have like about 50,000 Twitter followers across my personal account and my and the drip account. If people can see that those started at 0 and they've grown a little bit at a time over time to where we are now. We've never bought followers, nothing like that. Like, we're completely organic, and that can't be said about basically all of other projects in the top 10.
Right. I think that's an area that we're getting a lot stronger in. Remember, we were having a difficult time trying to adjust to Twitter, but now,
Yeah.
like, our engagement, it's because of the community too. Everybody's rallying up in Twitter. So now our engagement in Twitter is going to be up there. We're building a strong Twitter following also. So that's really bullish.
Yeah, and we're going to move to other social media as well. It's just, we're about doing it organically, and we're about really create. So there is a reason why we make a tweet and we get 400 likes, 300 retweets, and 70 comments. It's because we actually organically grew our social media, and we actually organically grew our platform, which takes time and it takes commitment. But when you do it the right way, it shows, and that's why we get more engagement than anyone. Because we did it right.
I got a different question here. This is okay. There's constant questions in the community from a technical aspect of drip and different things like that. So this is drip 101 already. Everybody should understand that minting has nothing to do with the drip token price. So I already did like multiple videos. You guys can go to your favorite drip YouTuber. They did a video on that subject. But what this person wants to know, and this is a reoccurring question that gets asked all the time, is if we ever think about changing the whale tax based on the supply of the new tokens. So, for example, if you have 40K tokens, etc., because this is another thing too. Drip white paper, we definitely need to have an update on it just to cover a lot of these different bases. So, yeah, what's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, so none of the major mechanics of the faucet are going to change. That's not going to happen. People, when they put their money in the drip faucet, that is a lockup of their principal, and they need to understand that when they make that commitment, the rules of the game are not going to change on them midway through, or a year later, or 3 years later. All of those values are set in stone and will be continued set in stone. Now, we can build contracts on top of them that add more value to them, or maybe do have some changes to them, but the core contracts are immutable, and that's a promise that we made to the community that we'll maintain. Now, so the supply of the drip token is relative to the amount of contracts that are utilizing it. So when only the faucet was utilizing drip, then all of the drip tokens were going to the faucet pool and the faucet tax vault. So people, that was the only place you could put drip, was into the faucet. That drip was then put in the tax vault, and 10% of all transactions were put in the tax vault. When you only have drip in the tax vault, then there's no need to mint drip to pay out dividends in the faucet, because all of the drip is going to the tax vault. Now, if you start creating additional products for drip, that drip that is going to those additional products instead of the tax vault are still being taken out of circulation. The true circulating supply of drip is not being increased. In fact, it's reducing. But in order for the faucet to maintain its ability to pay out dividends, it needs to be able to adjust the supply to ensure that it meets the demand for dividend payouts. But the fact that we've continued to outperform all of the major altcoins, we're moving on par with the market, even while paying out 1% interest, shows you that these additional drip that are being allocated to the tax vault are not being created at the expense of the price of drip. It's not adding more drip to the circulating supply. The circulating supply of drip is reducing. The total supply of drip is irrelevant, because if the total supply is accounting for drip that is locked up in contracts that in some cases cannot be removed from contracts, then it will never affect the price. Not in a negative way. Of course, when you reduce the supply, you can have more of a positive price impact, but as more products and as more contracts and more utility and more use cases are built for drip, the circulating supply will increase. I mean, sorry, no, I said it backwards. The circulating supply will decrease, which will have a positive effect on the price, and the total supply could remain static or could increase. But as long as the circulating supply is going down, that's what matters, because that's the drip that can actually hit the market. So you're going to notice the more products we build for drip, the more use cases we build for drip, the more drip that otherwise would be going into the faucet will be going to these other contracts, which means the faucet, if it doesn't have drip in the tax vault, needs to create that drip to pay out the dividends. But that doesn't mean more drip are going to circulating supply. In fact, it means less drip are going to circulating supply because more drip are going into these additional products. And it's very obvious to anybody who was looking at the analytics when we started the manor farm, when we started the drip garden. People like to go into the new thing, the new hot thing. So a lot of drip that would otherwise be going to the faucet went into the drip garden. Drip garden is locking up drip. Or it went to the manor farm, which is putting drip in the liquidity pool, the pancake swap liquidity pool. It removed a ton of drip from the circulating supply. So if it's removing, say, 20% more drip from the circulating supply, but 10% less drip is going into the faucet, that means that the circulating supply is reducing by 20%. The total supply may increase by 10% to pay out people in the faucet, but what actually can have an effect on the price, the drip that can actually have a negative effect on the price, was reduced by 20%. So looking at the total supply tells you very little about projects with staking protocols, just like looking at the market cap tells you almost nothing about tokens with staking contracts. So I could right now create a token that has a $1 trillion market cap. I could do that by issuing tokens, locking up, say, 1 billion tokens, or locking up 1 trillion tokens if you want to have $1 trillion market cap, and then listing the token at $1. So I list the token at $1. There's 1 trillion tokens locked up in a contract that will never hit the market. And now, what do? To get the market cap? You multiply the price of the token versus the supply of the token, and that gives us $1 trillion market cap. I could easily create a token tomorrow with $1 trillion market cap. That shows you what, and I could do it only putting $1 into the system. That shows you how little these values mean, the market cap and the total supply, when you account, or if you're not accounting for all of the other factors. So, of course, like kind of noobs don't understand how these things work, and they can get confused and thrown off. But this is why I was saying, for future development, and why we decided to make major changes to V2 on Animal Farm. If you can put price appreciation first before yield paid on dividends, you're going to do a better job at kind of promoting to the noobs, because noobs they don't know what's going on as far as all these different contracts and all that. They do see the price going up, and that's what they understand. So it's about education. It's about educating people what these numbers actually mean, and how you should pay attention to them when it comes to actually understanding value. So Bartertown, I have some things I got to do. I'm going to schedule something for Thursday. So we'll either do a voice chat on Thursday, or I'll do another interview with maybe Thomas or Stunner or someone in the space. So let's wrap this up, and we're gonna have at least twice a week some some sort of voice chat or interview or something to really get everybody in the community on board, because it's important that we don't just focus outside of the community when it comes to marketing. Because like I was saying earlier, we have 150,000 plus investors involved in our products right now that may not be aware. They're definitely not aware that we're launching on the 18th. Probably something like 5,000 of them or 10,000 of them are now aware of it. So this is why I was saying we need to kind of have a 2-week run up from now to the 15th where we're really focused on getting everybody in our community, all 150,000 plus of them, on the same page about launching on the 18th of October and handling the dogs credit thing, which will happen on the 15th. And then we'll have a full month of outside of our community marketing. And by that point, we'll have our full community like on board, going hard, doing, taking advantage of all the OG ways that we did promoting, like Reddit and all of them. Maybe dare I even say 4chan. Like, we're gonna go all out as far as the community. So
and the dogs crediting, that's going to be on the old site, the Animal Farm.
Yeah, we're gonna do it on the old site because we don't want to create confusion. We don't want people who are new to the platform that get forwarded to the new site to see dogs crediting and wonder what it is, wonder how they can get involved, try to use it. So we're going to keep it off. We're going to put it on the old site, and then we keep the new site clean and basically promoting, advertising the stuff that goes live on the 18th on October. Exactly. Brandon, if you want, we can do an interview on Thursday if you want, if you're available.
Hell yeah, I'm down.
Okay. All right. So start promoting that now, and I will make a. I got to talk to Stonecutter. He handles my schedule, but by tomorrow we'll announce that.
Thursday, I usually do my stream at 6 p.m. East, but we could do it earlier if you want.
I just have to see. So I typically do. Typically from like noon to 5, I have meetings like almost every day, because so every day at the same times we have a development meeting for Solidity, a development meeting for UI and design, then we have a Scratchy meeting, then we have a marketing meeting. So typically from like noon to 5 or 6 every day we have meetings about development and marketing. And then like I have a bunch of other stuff that's scheduled as well. So I just hit up Stonecutter and he'll be able to figure out the time with you.
Okay, I will. Sounds like after 5 p.m., which is actually good for me as well. So I will contact Stonecutter. Thank you.
Yeah, start collecting questions and stuff from the community and just, letting people know.
You got it. Appreciate
All right,
it.
guys. All right. Thank you, Ray. This was great. Yeah, let's push it. We got a lot of work out of us. A lot of work is done from a development perspective, but we're going to be putting more resources into marketing than we ever have. And I hope everybody's prepared for it.
Thank you, Forex. Mighty leader, Forex Shark. And guys, just make sure that you guys understand that this is an opportunity of a lifetime. You know that Drip is going to reach heights that we can't even imagine right now. We're going through a process. We're going through different cycles. We have the animal farm that's going to be a hub for massive amounts of drip liquidity. So, there's if there ever was a sure shot in crypto, drip is the sure shot. The community is too strong. You can check the algorithm, you can check the interests. Right now, the whales and the people in the community are playing a game of chicken. But ultimately, who's going to be the one is able to take the opportunity now while it's here? Is it going to be you, right? When you look back at this time, are you going to say, damn, I wish I would have did this, damn, I wish I would have did that? Or are you going to pounce and jump on the opportunity like you should to make life-changing gains for yourself? So make sure you guys have that in your thoughts. Make sure you support the whole drip community. Everybody pushing out content. Every single tweet, there's an opportunity for you to pump your own bags in this ecosystem, because this is a truly community owned, community operated ecosystem where we all put our bricks in. That's why we go so hard for drip. That's why we go so hard for Forex. That's why we shout mighty leader in the chat, because we're behind Forex, we're behind the ecosystem, and we are drip maxis over here, especially at the Bartertown conglomerate, especially with Drip Guide, especially with all the content creators. Salute to the squad.
Thank you, brother. And just understand, you want to invest in value, not in hype. Now's your time to invest in value, right? A ton more value will be hitting the market. So that's kind of the beauty of this, right? So now is your time to invest in value. And when we go live, there'll be a lot of hype, but also a lot of new products providing a lot of new value. So, we're not going to stop providing value. We're going to have one major new product, one major new utility at least every other month for the next year and a half. That's done. 90% of it's already developed. So think about value, spread the hype, but don't be taken away by the hype. And, do what you know is best. I know everybody here knows, they have a plan. They know what we're about to do. Get your friends on board, right? There's so many people, my cousins, my friends, that are I've changed their life, and you can do the same. Now's your opportunity. Be the hero, right? Be the hero for your friends and your family. Take advantage of that. All right, guys. Thank you. I'll follow up with Brendan when we get off this call. Bye.